Geez, Mom. You want me to join what? Prom drill team, dear. It's that new co-ed sport at your high school. I thought it might be suitable for a boy like you. My shoulders slumped. Alright, so I had this weird thing about wanting to dress like a girl. And yeah, so Mom came home early from work one day and caught me wearing her bra, slip and panties. And ever since she'd been going on about me being trans or non-binary or something and helping me find my gender identity and blah blah blah. I wasn't into that. I knew what I was, a boy who liked girls and wanted to dress like them. I knew what prom drill team was. I mean, it was all over MeTube and Instagram and TikTok. Ensembles of mostly girls who did field routines and prom dresses, accompanied by a hot jazz band with alto and tenor sax, clarinet, baritone horn, tuba and a couple of drummers. Their synchronized routines were somewhere between drill team formations and dance choreographies. Their style of movement was graceful, not martial, gliding, not marching, feminine, not masculine. Performers wore full makeup, with elaborate hairdos, tiaras and other jewelry, and long gowns of many colors. And some of them were boys. It started with Puerto Rican chicas in the Bronx and became popular as a way for schools to support trans students. It especially caught on in the Southeast, where prom dress styles reflected elaborately flounced Southern belle dresses. Black ladies performed amazing prom drill team routines in New Orleans at Mardi Gras and in Atlanta on Easter. It was open to students of all genders, but they had to pass an audition and demonstrate athletic ability, a graceful carriage and feminine manners to make the team. Even if they were boys. The performances featured circles, lines, pyramids and other formations of gowned figures moving and dissolving and reforming in perfect time to music hard to describe, but lovely to watch. Prom drill team took itself seriously as a new minor art form, and its community frowned on any degree of campiness. There were competitions between schools, and next year a state tournament, and soon, no doubt, there would be college scholarships and TV coverage. There were rumors that Steven Soderbergh was shooting a prom drill team movie on an iPhone. PDT, as its fans called it, typically involved a team of up to 32 ball-gowned ladies and up to 16 gens in frilly pastel tuxedos. By convention, the gens were always female. The ladies could be of either sex, but couldn't all be female. The rule said least 1/8 of the ladies should be boys in dresses. The more elegant the performance, and the harder it was for judges to spot the boys, the higher the team's score. And Mom wanted me to be one of those boys. I did not, thank you very much. My personal desires were a private thing. I couldn't imagine acting them out in public. At home I would happily wear a prom dress and twirl around in front of a mirror. I would feel ridiculous wearing the same dress in public, whether on a concert stage, a gym floor or a football field, the venues where PDT was most commonly performed. Mom, my dressing is private. I can't do it in public. My friends would. I moaned. I would die of embarrassment. I think it would be good for you, Louis. You've been spending too much time by yourself. It would be a group activity. You'd be part of a team. And it's fine for boys to wear the costumes. It's even in the rules. Prom drill team is about being inclusive. And with your build and bone structure, you'd be so pretty. I've always wanted to see what you'd look like in a dress. After your dad left, I was tempted to raise you as a girl. Mom. Well, I didn't, but sometimes I wonder if I should have. You and I are going to meet with the team coach, Ms. Terpsichore, and see what she thinks of your potential. If she doesn't think you're good enough, you won't have to participate. But if she sees real talent in you, it'd be a shame to let it go to waste. That's how I ended up meeting after school a few days later with my mother and Ms. Terpsichore, who was a tall, athletic blonde in her 20s. She was 10 years older than me, but even so, I thought she was gorgeous. She made me stand in various uncomfortable positions, walk, bend over and twist around. She measured my height and weight, wrapped a tape around me and took measurements, and asked my shoe size. I don't need to see Louis in a dress to see that he would be perfect, Mrs. Hoofer. Right size, fine features, small hands and feet, good sense of balance, and a nice start on long hair. I think he would be a fine addition to our core of ladies and lend it some welcome diversity. Then it's settled, Ms. Terpsichore. Lewis will join your PDT team. What do we need to do? Give me your email address, Mrs. Hoofer, and I'll send you instructions, including dress requirements. Congratulations, Lewis, and welcome aboard. And that's how I joined prom drill team without saying a word. So, they say prom drill team is inclusive and all that, but in reality, it's totally girly. Almost all the participants are girls, and most of the few boys who join them are effeminate and enjoy having a more or less socially acceptable way to dress as girls in public. It helps that more kids these days are tolerant of differences and think it's wrong to harass someone because of gender. Or at least that's what I kept telling myself as I watched my mom lay out my PDT uniform on my bed on the morning of my first rehearsal with the team. She'd gone shopping for the clothes the day before without taking me along, presumably so I wouldn't make a fuss in the teen girls department about how much lace she expected me to wear. Of course you have to wear girls' underwear, Mom said. This isn't about guys joking around in hiking boots, boxers, and a dress. The boys on the team are expected to look and behave as much like girls as possible, so that the audience can't tell who's what. To look like a girl, you need to feel like a girl, and to feel like a girl, you need to dress as one, from the skin out. Which I already know you like to do. My uniform was utterly feminine. Lacy pink panties and a bra with breast forms, a pink satin waist cincher with garters to give me a girlier figure and hold up my nude stockings, a full-length white slip and poofy tulle petticoat, and my chiffon gown, which had a V-necked bodice sparkling with tiny crystals and a swirling skirt of many layers in pastel colors. On the floor she set a pair of Capezio nude character shoes with a strap across the vamp and 2-inch heels. On the pillow she laid a floaty chiffon shawl that performers held, waved and twirled to create visual effects at key moments of their routine. A stand on my desk held a lady's wig in my hair color, an elaborate coiffure like a bridal updo, with a delicate silver tiara covered in crystals. Next to it, my mom set her makeup kit, a selection of nail polish and jewelry, big, sparkly earrings, bracelets and a necklace also covered with crystals. How am I supposed to carry all this stuff to school? I asked. By wearing it, Mom said. I was shocked. What? I have to wear all this to my regular classes? Yes, all day, she said. It's to boost school spirit, just like cheerleaders wear their uniforms on game days. But today's just a rehearsal. It's partly for your benefit. More than a few girls on the team, not just the boys, need practice wearing and moving in fancy lingerie, long dresses, and heels, she said. Football players practice in their uniforms, don't they? Besides, the other girls love wearing their costumes. You don't want to be the odd man, odd girl out. I sighed. So as soon as I get to school, everyone will know right away that I've joined the prom drill team, I said. Of course, she said. It'll be fun, you'll see. All the girls in your classes will come up to you to look at your dress and ask you how it feels to be wearing it. If you can be cheerful about it, they won't laugh at you, they'll tell you how cute and brave they think you are. They'll probably ask about your underwear. If you pull up your skirt far enough to show your petticoat, slip and stockings, that might satisfy them. What if it doesn't? I said. Show them a bra strap. Girls aren't afraid to show their underwear to other girls, she said. I mean, you're not a girl, but if you behave like one, they'll treat you like one. And what about guys? What about them? They probably won't want to talk to you. They'll avoid you. You'll threaten their masculinity. What about my masculinity? Mom, Oh, hush. We only have an hour to get you ready. A bubble bath would be lovely, but we don't have time. I'll apply some lotion to remove your body hair, and then you take a quick shower and I'll help you get dressed. Remove my body hair? Absolutely, Mom said. People wearing girls' clothes don't want hairy legs or underarms. You don't really have much body hair anywhere else, but we'll do your cheeks, chin and chest just to be sure. Come on, into the bathroom with you, and let's get you started. She smeared smelly goo over my arms and legs, hands and feet, neck and future beard, and made me wait while the shower warmed up. When I washed it off, my hair went down the drain. My legs hadn't been that hairy before, but now they looked smooth and feminine, especially after Mom made me rub lavender-scented body creme into my skin. I wrapped a towel around my middle, but Mom made me pull it up to cover my non-existent breasts, the way a girl would. "I'll help you dress," she said as I returned to my bedroom. "Mom, no. I think I can do it," I said. "Have you put on a bra before?" "Never mind, of course you have. You know how to put on stockings?" "Yes, Mom," I said. "Then I'll leave you to it. Shout if you need help." "Oh, what do you want to be called?" "What do you mean, Mom?" "I'm Louis. You have to use a girl's name for prom drill team, like on programs and stuff, so that it's harder for people to tell whether you're a boy or a girl," she said. "How about Lisa? That's pretty close to Louis." "I don't want to be called Lisa. The other team members all have girls' names, Lisa. You want to fit in, don't you? If the girls ask what your name is and you say Louis, they'll laugh and call you Louise, which is too much like your boy name, or something worse, like Lacy Pants or Lolita. They won't laugh at Lisa. Maybe girls wouldn't, but boys would." I shuddered at the thought of the reception I'd get when I walked across campus to my first class. Snickers and insults at the very least. Guys pinching my ass. Guys snapping my bra strap. Guys grabbing at my fake boobs. Some guys were polite, but a lot of them were just crude, and I would make a perfect target. I had a sudden vision of being dragged into the boys' locker room in my dress and girls' undies and what could happen to me. It wasn't a pretty thought. Slowly, reluctantly, I stepped into the panties, looped the bra straps over my shoulders and did up the band's hooks and eyes with my hands behind my back, something most guys couldn't do. I wrapped the waist cincher around me, hooked the busks in front and started to lace it up in back. It was awkward. I thought of turning it around and cinching it up in front, but wasn't sure I'd be able to turn it back around me afterwards. A knock at my door, and Mom barged in. "Aw. I thought you'd have trouble with that. Here, I'll lace you in and then you can finish dressing." She tightened the strings until I thought I'd pass out. "Much better. You'll adjust to it in no time. All right, finish up, and hurry. You don't want to be late on your big day." Oh, yes, I did. I was tempted to skip class entirely and show up only for the rehearsal after school. But my teachers and new teammates would notice and might call Mom to check on me, and I'd be in trouble. I had to show up for class, wearing a dress. I sat down and put on the rest of the clothes. They felt wonderful, beautiful, arousing. My little dick got stiff. The petticoats and dress completely hid my bulge, though anyone who groped me in front would surely discover I wasn't a girl. Maybe it would be better if they grabbed my ass instead. I needed to learn how to swing it back and forth the way girls did. I'd be expected to walk that way when performing. I had to ask Mom to zip me up and do my wig and makeup. "Do your makeup before you get dressed next time," she told me. "You don't want to get it on your clothes." When I was all ready, with fresh lipstick, nail polish and a dab of perfume, Mom draped my chiffon shawl around my shoulders and told me to get in the car. I went to grab my backpack and found that Mom had replaced it with a pink and purple book bag. Oh, yuck. I usually walked to school, and was nervous about running into classmates en route, where they could hassle me with no adults around. On the other hand, if she drove me, I'd have to attend all my classes, instead of hiding somewhere until later in the day, but hiding was a bad idea. She dropped me off right in front of the gate, where other kids were streaming in. "Have a good day, Lisa. Good luck at prom drill team," she called out gaily as I got out of the car. I wanted to die. Every kid within earshot turned to look at me. I stumbled on a crack in the sidewalk in my heels, and had to clutch at the nearest person to stay on my feet. Unfortunately, the person was Dick Dongle, a basketball player that plenty of girls at school would have loved to clutch. Rick caught me by my shoulders and gave me a killer smile. "Whoa, are you all right?" he asked. "Did your mom just call you Lisa?" I was so embarrassed that I couldn't think. I'm Louis, not Lisa, I said. You look like a Lisa to me, Rick said. He leaned over and, to my astonishment, kissed me full on my lips. He let me go. I swayed in my heels, but managed to stay upright. The kids around me hooted and giggled and made kissy sounds. Woo, Lisa. Hey, prom princess. You go, girl. Love your dress, Lisa. Is that your real hair? The laughter and banter followed me all the way to my locker, where I stashed my girly bag, grabbed my books for English and hurried to class. I hastily slid into my chair and ended up sitting on a wad of petticoats and dress. I realized my mistake, stood, smoothed my skirts under me and sat down again. Very graceful, Louis, whispered Samantha, the girl who sat next to me. Or is it Lisa now? I sort of liked Samantha, but never had the nerve to tell her. The last thing I wanted was for her to compliment me on my feminine deportment. My mom made me join prom drill team, I whispered back, blushing. Do tell, she said. I didn't think that was a football uniform. You're very pretty, Lisa. Samantha, called out our teacher, Ms. Peeps, whose last name sounded like Peeps. Is there something you want to share with the rest of the class? Samantha shot me an amused glance. I was just telling Lisa that she's very pretty, she said. The room erupted in laughter. Yes, she is, said Ms. Peeps. I'll remind everyone that it's against the rules to harass, harm or demean students like Lisa, Louis in any way. Louis obviously has joined the prom drill team, and all the team members will be wearing their uniforms today, so Louis is just showing his school spirit. Now then, we were discussing Animal Farm, by George Orwell. Can anyone tell me what the book is satirizing? It was the same in every class all day. I would walk in, girls would erupt in chatter and boys would look at me askance. The teacher would ask how I wanted to be addressed, and I would say Louis, and someone would be sure to say, her name's Lisa, and it would be giggles all around. At lunch, the other members of the prom drill team, all wearing their festive gowns, took over one of the long tables, and the team captain, a pretty blonde named Christine, waved at me to come sit with them. I joined them, clumsily swinging my legs over the bench in my long dress, but remembering to smooth my skirts under me before sitting. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to the team, Christine said. She offered me her hand, and I shook it limply, the way girls do. That's a really pretty dress. I blushed. Thank you. All of you look gorgeous, I said. We know, she said. That's one of the reasons to be on prom drill team. We get to dress up like princesses at school, and no one can make fun of us. I'm not so sure about that, I said. Oh, well, you're a boy, so you have to expect people will notice, she said. Last Friday you were Louis, and on Monday you're suddenly Lisa. I assume you're completely dressed as a girl? Panties and bra and everything? Yes, I said, blushing. My mom insisted. Quite right. And you smell nice, too, Christine said. We love having boys on the team, and we love to see them get into the spirit of prom fashions. Are you wearing pantyhose or stockings? Stockings, I admitted. Ooh, what's holding them up? My waist cincher has garters, I said. Oh, my, Lisa. Good for you. Maybe we should get you a corset. What's your bra size? This was getting embarrassing. Well, I, don't have breasts, but it's 34B. Are you wearing breast forms? Christine asked. Yeah, I said miserably. Maybe by next year they'll be C-cups, she said. The other girls giggled. She introduced me to all the girls, too many names to remember, and to the one other boy on the team, Tanya, who told me later that his real name was Tony. Like me, he was short and skinny, with delicate features, small hands and feet and a graceful way of movement. He was wearing a floor-length prom dress in bias cut peach satin, with an updo like mine. I couldn't tell if it was a wig or his real hair. Tanya seemed completely at ease in his feminine persona, and the other girls, I should say, treated him like one of them. Is that how I wanted them to treat me? as just another one of the girls? Or did I want them to remember I was a boy? They were all cute, and the male side of my brain wondered if any of them might be a future girlfriend, not just a fellow prom drill team member. Of course it was too early to have such thoughts, but it was my first encounter with the dilemma I would face. I was attracted to them as girls, but I also wanted to be one of them. I wanted to dress like them and be treated like them and relate to them the way they did with each other, in that gossipy, intimate manner that boys simply did not have. I wanted to be a girl. I wanted to love a girl. As a boy, I didn't know how to do both. I survived my afternoon classes, though not without unpleasant moments. One was when some big dork, I didn't know his name, shoved me face first up against a locker, yanked up my skirts, grabbed my panties and gave me a wedgie. I told him to let go of me, and when he ignored me, I told him I'd scream for help. He let me go, and students nearby laughed as I quickly rearranged my panties, petticoat and dress, feeling utterly humiliated. Another was when a boy pushed me back against a locker, grabbed one of my fake breasts with one hand and groped my crotch with the other. Neither move made much impression. He was squeezing silicone on top and tulle and chiffon down below. I shoved him away. He bumped into a girl, who snapped at him to watch where he was going, and I made my getaway while he was apologizing to her. The worst incident, though, was when I needed to pee and automatically walked into the boys' room. The guys in there all stared at me, and I wondered if I should have used the girls' room instead. I didn't want to pull up my dress to use a urinal, so I hurried toward one of the stalls. One of the boys, a beefy specimen, blocked my way. "If you want to pee like a girl, you gotta kiss me like a girl," he said. The other boys in the room guffawed. "Please get out of my way," I said. "Give me a kiss, or I'll tickle you until you pee in your panties," he said. I was really ticklish, and I really needed to pee. I went up on my tiptoes and pecked him on the cheek. "Asshole," I said. "You wish," he said. I tried to shove him out of the way, and he moved. I don't think he was expecting someone in a ball gown to get physical. I slid past him into the stall, locked the door, ignored the boys' laughter and spent a few minutes figuring out how to pee like a girl in my prom dress. In the end, I was sitting there in what felt like a giant ball of chiffon and tulle pulled up to my waist, with my panties pulled down over my garters and stockings, and I realized why Mom told me to wear my panties over my garters, not under them. A boy's head peeked under the stall door. I shrieked and kicked at him. He disappeared and the boys outside laughed. A pair of hands appeared on the top of the door and another boy pulled himself up to take a look down my bodice. "Go away, you dick," I shouted. "At least I have one," the boy shouted, to more laughter. I wiped myself, something I never did at a urinal, and reassembled my undergarments and dress. I waited in the stall until the door closed and the bathroom was quiet. I left as quickly as possible, scared and furious. Boys were pigs. I found out later that Tanya used the girls' bathrooms on the days he wore his prom dress to school. He said it was just easier all around, that most girls, seeing him in his dress and long hair, assumed he was one of the PDT ladies and paid him no attention. Even when they noticed, he said, they were sympathetic and didn't get upset. I could see why. He was so petite and effeminate that girls wouldn't think of him as a boy. "What about on days when you don't wear a dress?" I asked. He blushed. "I still use the girls' room," he said. "If I use the boys' room, there's always trouble. I wear panties and a camisole under my boy clothes, so if a girl challenges me, I can show her what I'm wearing underneath, and that usually convinces her." I wondered if I should do the same. I'd never been in a girl's bathroom and would be embarrassed to use one, but it would be a lot less nasty than what I'd just experienced. As the drill team members arrived, they entered the gym through the girls' locker room. I walked out onto the floor in my skirts and capezios and said hi to the girls I'd met at lunch. They seemed friendly, and asked me a lot of personal questions. I was relieved when Ms. Terpsichore entered the room and called us to order. After reintroducing me and asking Christine to lead warm-ups, Ms. Terpsichore led me through the plies and other dance movements and stretches, instructing me and correcting my posture and position. When the team was warmed up, she ran a series of drills in which the girls, I'll call us girls, since Tanya and I look like them, did what looked like pieces of choreographies. 2 lines sweeping through each other at an angle without letting their skirts touch. Tiptoeing delicately along a curving line while breaking into a single spin every few steps to make skirts flare. Practicing graceful arm movements while moving from a line into a circle and back into a line. I didn't know the steps, of course, so I mostly watched from the side of the room. Ms. Terpsichore asked me if I knew how to waltz. I said a little, so she thrust me into a line of couples ladies, including Tanya and me, and female gents, whose pastel satin tuxedos were tailored for female figures, with shawl collars, darts, snug waists, little peplums and lace-trimmed bow ties. My gent was an inch taller than me. She showed me how to hold my hands in the ladies' position and quickly ran me through a basic box step. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the music started. I did okay, I guess. I got the basic women's step quickly. My gent began to whirl me around as I repeated the step, following another couple around the room. At the end of the musical phrase, she shoved me through an underarm turn, which I finished late. We returned to our starting positions and did the same series of steps. I did better this time, ending on the beat. The couples broke up afterwards to start another exercise. My gent politely bowed to me, and I gave her my best curtsy before retreating to the side again. The team started running longer sections of choreographies that I could only watch, and ended the rehearsal with the entire 15-minute suite they planned to perform at halftime of the homecoming football game a month and a half from now. It was beautiful to watch, as precise as an ordinary drill team, but with a level of grace and beauty that turned it into more than just a display of precision. It told the story of a bunch of solitary individuals who began to coalesce into lines and circles and small formations, that in turn coalesced into larger groups and formations, and ended up as a giant circle of dancers doing a complicated series of steps in perfect unison, only to break down at the end into solitary individuals again. I was awed. I wanted to learn how to do this, even if it meant wearing a prom dress to school once a week. Except that soon rehearsals were twice a week, and then 3 times a week as we prepared for our homecoming performance. I was wearing my dress to school more days than not, and grew used to moving in it and managing long skirts and wearing heels. I also got a lot better at peeing while sitting down in a long dress. The girls brushed their hair back and wore it in a bun on the top or back of the head. Mine was barely long enough to catch in a short ponytail, so I had to settle for wearing a bun hairpiece. We were bun heads. At least we didn't have to wear tutus and toe shoes. On days when I dressed as a boy, my clothes felt heavy and itchy and uncomfortable, and I wondered if I should just start wearing dresses every day. Sure, it would take more time in the morning, and I'd have to touch up my makeup during the day, but I loved how I felt and looked when dressed as a girl. Over breakfast one day, I asked Mom about switching to girls' clothes full-time. She looked into my eyes. Is that what you really want to do, darling? I'm not sure, Mom, I said. I love the clothes, I love prom drill team, and I don't like dressing as a boy, but I think of myself as a boy. I like girls. I'm not interested in boys. Mom looked sympathetic. Too bad. I always thought boys were so much fun. Not very bright, but possessed of a unique asset. Have you? She seemed unable to complete the question. No, Mom, I said. I've never done whatever you're thinking of. She heaved a sigh that might have been of relief. And now you want to be a girl. I want to dress as a girl, Mom, I said. I don't know about actually being one. No surgery, she said. No. I was attached to my family jewels. What about breasts? I'm wearing forms, I said. You mean real ones? Only if you really want them, and you'd need to take hormones. I hesitated. I'm not sure about that, Mom. She gave me a gentle smile. I'll talk to your principal if you're sure you want to dress as a girl at school every day. I'll talk to your doctor about hormones, not to start them right away, just to get more information. Thanks, Mom. I wondered if Tanya was taking hormones. He definitely had little breasts, and was more shy about exposing them in the girls' locker room than I was. He showed no signs of entering male puberty. I wanted to ask him, but it would be so embarrassing. Mom took me shopping that weekend for girls' clothes that weren't prom dresses. Ordinary dresses, skirts and tops, all very feminine. No trousers. You already know how to wear pants, Mom said. Let's see how you do in a tight mini. She also bought me enough lingerie to wear every day, not just on rehearsal days. A trip to the hairdresser for extensions gave me enough hair that I could wear it in a real bun. Mom talked to the principal, who talked to my teachers, who announced in class that Louis/Lisa would be just Lisa from now on, and that anyone who harassed me would be suspended or even arrested. Ms. Terpsichore told the team that technically, I still counted as a male for prom drill team. I would just be dressing as a girl full-time, which could only help my performance. This guaranteed that I would be harassed only when no teachers were around. Mom couldn't drive me to school every day, so I started walking again, and most days found myself accompanied by boys who had trouble keeping their hands off me. Hands on my butt, hands under my pleated skirts, hands on my boobs. I told them no and slapped their hands away, but that didn't stop them. Boredom did. After a couple of weeks, they started leaving me alone, as if I was just another girl on her way to school. As homecoming approached, Ms. Terpsichore decided I was ready to appear in 3 parts of the program: the opening number where we glided onto the field in graceful curves, waving our oversized chiffon shawls, the ladies and gents waltz, in the middle of the program, and the final number, where she added me to the background line, which did a series of simple steps while soloists showed off in front. On the day of the game, the entire prom drill team got the afternoon off to go to a beauty parlor, where we were all styled and made up to look identical. Same nail color, same lipstick, same eyeshadow, everything. We returned to school looking gorgeous. Ms. Terpsichore took us to the library to work on homework for an hour, and then we went into the girls' locker room to wait for halftime. Some of the girls complained of being hungry, but our coach said that to stay light on our feet, we'd eat after the game, not before. When Christine let us out onto the field, the scoreboard showed us down by 2 touchdowns. No surprise, our football team sucked. It didn't matter. I took my place in the end zone, where we would make our entrance, and waited for the music. Surprise! Instead of our little jazz combo, the entire school band played for us. The sound didn't swing quite as much, but there was a lot more of it, and it added energy to our performance. I glided onto the field with the other ladies, smiling with all my might, moving as prettily as possible, holding my shawl high to make it float behind me, skirts swirling around my hips, and to my bewilderment and joy, I had a life-changing experience. I felt completely natural out on the field. I belonged here. I knew my steps cold and focused on being entirely graceful and perfectly in time. The waltz in the arms of my gent, whose name was Marissa, was heavenly. She led me so capably that I felt like a bird about to take flight, with my gown swirling around me like a flurry of delicate wings. For the closing number, I joined the background chord to make the line longer, did my steps perfectly, and struck my closing position right on the beat. The audience's cheers and applause made me shiver. It was the most exciting and rewarding moment of my life. I curtsied deeply along with all the other ladies when we took our bows. As I rose from my curtsy, I decided that prom drill team was the most rewarding thing I'd ever done. Imagine my astonishment and joy when they announced a list of prom drill team prize winners after our final bow, and I had to go back out onto the field to accept a beautiful floral bouquet as most improved performer. It almost seemed unfair, since I'd started at 0, but I accepted it happily, curtsied again, and gracefully glided off the field, feeling almost proud enough to burst my waist cincher. We had an after-party in the school cafeteria, with pizzas coming out of the kitchen at regular intervals, and the girls danced and sang and did fractured versions of our choreographies, with our best performers pretending to make mistakes and having to be corrected by the likes of Miss Most Improved, namely me. I took some ribbing for my prize, but it was good-natured and made me feel more like a real member of the team. At one point, Ms. Terpsichore invited me into the coach's office for a moment, shut the door, and asked me how I felt about prom drill team. "Oh, I love it, coach. It's the best thing in my life," I want to be in every number. I want to get better. I hopped up and down in excitement, making my skirts bounce. That is so wonderful. You'll be on my team for as long as you're here, she said. Oh, Lisa. To my surprise, she pulled me toward her and kissed me on the lips. Full on, with tongue afterwards. Oh my God. What was this? Was she coming on to me? I knew women's sports tended to attract lesbians, but I wasn't a woman, and maybe she wasn't a lesbian. Maybe she was just excited about the performance. She abruptly let me go and stepped away from me. Oh, Lisa. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. You're a minor. I'm your coach. I'm so sorry. Please, please, don't tell anyone. Forget it happened. I'll never tell, I said, but I'll never forget. It was totally my fault, she said. You are such a doll that I couldn't help myself. So young, so sweet. I can't remember the last time I had a sweeter kiss. Was I supposed to feel uncomfortable? Had I just been molested? I wasn't sure. Did it matter that I enjoyed it? It was just a kiss. Girls kissed each other, didn't they? But teachers weren't supposed to kiss students. Thank you, Ms. Terpsichore, I said, and gave her a little curtsy. I'd found that I liked curtsying. It was fun, and girls seemed to like it when I did it. She smiled. Thank you, Lisa. I just know you're going to be a star of prom drill team. I recognize charisma when I see it. It would help a lot if you got some formal dance training. Ask your mother if you can start taking ballet classes. As a girl, a ballerina. Oh, my. Ballet. As a girl, I would get to wear a pink leotard and white tights, with fuzzy leg warmers and a little pink cardigan. I would get to wear a tutu. I would grow my hair long enough to make a real bun, so I could be a real bunhead. I would talk to Mom tomorrow. After tonight, I wasn't Louis anymore. I was Lisa. I was in skirts all the time now. I was going to start taking ballet. It was time for me to start growing breasts. It was time for me to become a girl. As much of a girl as I could be. And I owed it all to prom drill team.